Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's going to be going over the 2024 Hyundai Palisade Calligraphy. Before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Murdoch Hyundai here in Linden, Utah for giving me some time with this Palisade. I'm going to include a link to their website in the description down below so you can check out what they have currently. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Under the hood, we have a naturally aspirated 3.8 liter V6 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 19 around town and then 24 on the highway, with power outputs being 291 horsepower and then 262 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we go over the front end, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Starting with the hood, first off, you guys can see this one is purple, which is pretty cool, but simplistic with the design. It's just flat there in the center and kind of falls off on either side. And then coming down below, we've got the crazy light design where the lights kind of bleed into the grille, how it all kind of comes together really cool. Hyundai logo front and center, and then you guys can see here with the headlights down below. And then we do have some parking sensor action here at the bottom. And putting it all together with all of the silver on this calligraphy package, I think it looks really good, especially again with this like purple paint. Coming around the side here, our tire wheel setup is 245, 50, 20 in the front and over in the rear. And you guys can see here with the wheels, you got the silver there on the top, the metallic gray is next to that. I think that looks really good. And then you can see you've got the body painted fender flare as well. I've always been a fan of having little turn signal indicators on the mirror. I think that looks really sharp. And then you guys can see here with the silver trim on the door handles down below, also around the windows. And then here is your full side view with the Palisade. Again, having things body painted or silver makes it look more upscale. So here's a quick look at the key fob. We have our lock and unlock function, the opening for the hatch. We've got our self-park function, remote starts, and then the Hyundai logo on the back. And then popping into the rear, you guys can see that we've got a decent amount of storage space behind the third row, pretty typical for this segment of SUV. And then we've got a 12 volt here. You can see we've got the buttons to lower down the second row. For the third row, you can raise and lower them, which is pretty nice. And then obviously, you know, lowering that third row is going to increase the amount of storage space that you have. When you're all done, just press that button and it'll lower the hatch back down. Now here's a quick look at the taillights. Really cool design. You can see all the badges here on the back, parking sensors here at the bottom as well. And then we got the double exhaust tip setup. And wrapping things up, let me know what you guys think about the overall design here on the Palisade Calligraphy. Now taking a look at the door panel itself, soft touch here at the top, and then you guys can see we've got a sunshade here for the back passengers. Cool black trim, then look at like the stitching design down below. That's really neat looking as well. I like this trim that goes around the window control, and even the door handle kind of looks fancy. And then here are these seats. They also have a pretty fancy design to them. As you can see, perforated all down the center. You got your adjustments and everything on the side. Now legroom here in the Palisade is really good, pretty typical again for the segment. Got a little storage pocket here, heated and ventilated seats for the back. We've got our own climate zone. We've got a bunch of charging ports as well. And by the way, these seats are comfy. And last but not least, headroom's good. Now in the third row, again, pretty typical for the segment when it comes to space. We got a USB back here. We got heated seat action. You got that for the seats themselves, so like I can recline my seat if I want. And speaking of seats, look how fancy these back seats look. And then headroom, it's good. Now taking a look at the front door panel, you guys can see soft touch here at the top, and then look at the blacked out trim down below and more soft touch here. And look at all this trim. All of our window controls, we've got our mirror adjustments as well, memory seat function, and then blind spot monitoring with the mirrors. And then here's a quick look at the front seat. Again, perforated all down the center portion, power adjustments on the side. Got your massage seat function too. And then we got our parking brake here with our stability control, your tow mode, and then the steering wheel is manually adjustable. Now taking a look at the steering wheel, you've got soft touch all around. Really nice paddle shifters down the back for that 8-speed automatic. This does have adaptive cruise control with steering assist. You got your voice command phone controls as well, and then your regular stocks there on the back. Digital gauge cluster here in the center. We can scroll through some different menus, see different bits of info on the vehicle. We'll actually leave it to the all-wheel drive split so we can see what happens there. And then we do have some different drive modes. Notice we have a cool animation there with the modes as well. Kind of adds to the flair a little bit with the car. Now you guys can see we've got a 360 camera system, so we've got that bird's eye view, backup view here with two drivetrons that turn with the steering wheel, and you can do this cool exterior shot, which will also show you around the car. So great camera system overall. As for the rest of the infotainment system, response time with the screen is really good. You've got stuff like passenger talk so that you don't have to strain your voice so much so the kids can hear. You can control the rear climate from the front as well. And yeah, so easy to use. It's got good parenting features. What more could you ask for? Soft touch here on the dash, for those of you that are wondering. And then look again with the black trim on the dash. And then I like this with the silver that goes across. Really cool. And then you got some analog controls for like the radio basically. Climate controls down below. Again, we've got dual zone for the front. And then, sorry, a lot of glare here, but you guys can see the transmission select with the buttons there. Your auto hold right next to it. Drive mode select with our center locking differential. Hill descent control, parking sensors, the camera system, your auto stop start. And then we have heated and cooled seat controls here as well as the heated steering wheel. We've got the first part of the center console here, so we have this that you basically have to cover it up if you want. We also have the slightly over-engineered cup holders, but the thing's really cool about that is you can basically have a box-like space here. Wireless phone charging pad with some USB action, and then you have the official center console behind that. So they've done a really good job with storage space here, and there's actually even more down below. Hyundai understands the parents need storage. Anyways, with the glove box, pretty spacious, got a nice handle on it, and then this has the rear view camera mirror, which I'm a huge fan of. And then we've got a sunroof up front here. You guys can see, nice trim. And then there's another sunroof there in the back as well. We got the controls for them right here in the front. Now here's a quick look at the window sticker, 2024 Palisade Calligraphy. You guys can see pretty much everything is standard equipment, or maybe you can't because of all of the glare. Sorry about that. Base MSRP 52,100. We do have some options like carpeted floor mats. I've always found that odd. And then obviously destination. 54,419 is the total MSRP on this Palisade Calligraphy. Let's see how it drives. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's visibility of the hood, and hope you can now see the heads-up display. And look at that nice headliner. Anyways, both the mirrors are dual blind spot monitoring throughout the rest of the rear. And Palisade Calligraphy away, aka the market shaker. This is what we're gonna call this vehicle, because I remember when this first came out and it just absolutely shocked everyone, because not only does this vehicle look really good, and you guys, we'll see the driving in a moment, but like it has a luxury feel, and it's obviously not, you know, asking a luxury price. Still to this day, like the price has gone up on the Calligraphy package a little bit since the initial release, but not by nearly as much as you'd think, especially compared to, you know, how much other automakers want for their cars. Also got the turn signal camera, which is always a nice safety feature. So I'm noticing it is sending a little, it's pretty even, but it sends a little bit more power to the front than the rear. Yeah, I love that turn signal camera. It's such a neat feature. And the suspension's really good on this. Oops. Accidentally hit the turn signal again. But yeah, this is comfortable. Yeah, it definitely sends more power to the front than the rear. So there is that. But I mean, that makes sense from a safety perspective, because it's actually easier for the average person to handle front wheel drive than it is for them to handle rear wheel drive. Pop it into sport mode. I wouldn't call it fast by any means, but I mean, it gets up and it moves. Oh, the bolsters actually tighten around you just like in a Mercedes when you go into sport mode. It's kind of funny. But yeah, it drives well. Drives very well. So we'll get a little turn around here. I actually really like this driving around here. I know it's not typical, but I mean, we have like basically this little thing that shows me kind of handling on a car. Obviously we can see acceleration here. Yeah, I feel like this driving route just has everything. It's kind of cool to test out cars. But anyways, yeah, I really like the Palisade Calligraphy. And just the Palisade in general. I will, you know, post reviews on some other packages like the SEL. I think that's another package that a lot of you might like to see. But yeah, and just when you put everything together, it looks good, it rides well, it's got a very nice interior, it's got nice features, and it's at a very reasonable price point. Like, this is basically a luxury car, but they're not asking luxury car money for this. And it seems like the competition still doesn't understand, because you look at what Ford's putting out, you look at what General Motors is putting, you look at all of the other, you know, people in this and Toyota and Honda. And you know, they've definitely made some strides forward, but like it seems like they still don't understand what Hyundai and Kia are doing in this segment by having these very nice vehicles at a reasonable price point. So once they understand, that might change things in the market. But right now, Hyundai and Kia, because you got the Telluride, obviously, they're still king of this segment because of what they offer and the price that they offer it at.